Let's have a look at the Mini 3 Pro from a mountain biker's perspective. As a mountain biker, I definitely use this for cinematic video. However, unlike many drone users, I also have to use this low down and at high speed and in close quarters quite a lot. With mountain bikes, normal mode is often not fast enough, but with sports mode there are a few limitations that you may not be aware of. For instance, it can take a really long time to stop, like 10 or 15 meters. It's going pretty quick, and if you hit something, it's not going to turn out well for the drone. To compensate, I do practice some fairly aggressive maneuvers low to the ground on a regular basis. Despite its inability to stop in sports mode, it is quite an agile drone. It also has an FPV mode for the gimbal, which kind of looks cool, but I use it rarely because I just don't find it visually pleasing. So now I'm done demonstrating its complete inability to stop from sports mode and that you really don't want to be in the way when you try. Let's now have a look at something I use all the time when mountain biking, active track. So what you're about to see is an active track glitch. If someone enters the scene, it adds them to the track and that can cause it to drop back. Sometimes in normal mode I find it difficult to keep up or overtake the mountain bikers, so I fly in manual flight sports mode, and this always gives me the jitters. I find it quite hard. It's difficult to keep the gimbal stable, but I am getting better at it. I use active track extremely regularly, but let's give it an absolutely extreme test in close quarters with lots of thin spindly branches. The Mini 3 Pro is not able to see small spindly branches with no leaves, and every single one of those is extremely high risk. The Mini 3 could just crash straight into one, so I'm definitely taking some risks here. I definitely wouldn't try this during winter in a deciduous forest. Now it is actually doing an absolutely fantastic job of avoiding all of the branches without an issue. However, as long as the drone is detecting obstacles, it limits its speed. This lowered maximum speed makes the video a little on the boring side, and I'm riding at a fraction of the speed that I'd normally ride down this mountain bike trail. So for that reason, this functionality doesn't have an awful lot of use for me, but it is rather cool. Believe it or not, although there are cuts in this sequence, the drone only lost track once. So I do start speeding up a bit down this trail, and the Mini 3 does an amazing job at keeping up, but it's still a fraction of my normal speed, so not really very useful to me to be filming in such close quarters. For me, where the active track comes right into its own is more open areas with technical riding. The technical riding slows me down, and the lack of obstacles allows the drone to go up to its maximum active track speed. This stunning location is Heartbreak Ridge in Scotland, and I'm using PARRALLEL active track, which obviously has no collision avoidance. So I had to eyeball and work out where the drone would be as it followed me and make sure it missed every one of those posts. Extremely windy day that day, but somehow the drone still managed to follow me, even though it could barely hold its position on one spot. What's the maximum speed of an active track? Well, DJI say about 21 miles an hour, but in my real world experience it's about 18, and you're best off having a wide view back, not too close, in order to maintain the track. That maximum speed is in a straight line over the ground, so if you're doing a lot of bends like I am here, the actual speed of the bike can be a bit faster. It loses lock here because it can't make a right turn because of collision avoidance of the tree, and that means I go out of the camera shot. So unlike some other drones like the Skydio, which have a GPS backup for active track, the DJI Mini 3 Pro is only visual. So if you go out of shot of the camera or behind a tree, you're pretty much going to lose your active track. To To summarise, the active track is extremely effective even in close quarters with trees, but if you try and do that in winter with no leaves on those branches, it's probably not going to end well, and there are numerous examples on the internet of that happening. As a mountain bike follow me kind of drone, I find it quite limited because it would struggle to keep up with the speed of my riding normally. Due to those speed limitations, I don't usually use active track. I usually fly the drone manually and follow other riders that are with me to get those shots. In terms of reliability, they are just reliable enough to lull you into a false sense of security, so always presume that you're going to get an uncommanded return to home and make sure you're clear. If you're still watching, help me out and subscribe.